Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Thursday night match day preview. I am, of course, your host, Martin the Governor Lambert, and every time I see the picture of Tux flexing, I feel my manhood get questions. You know, he's flexing the guns away, and I'm just there in the middle like an idiot. And I've got to get a bit of picture, George. We really have of me. But I'm welcoming guys and girls. It's nice to be with you. We've got lots to discuss. We've got Cheltenham. Obviously, a little bit of fallout from there. Are we still brooding? Have we moved on? How are we feeling as a fan base? I hope Colin is absolutely well. He phoned me on, I think it was yesterday, actually. It's been a long week. Took it 4:30 in the morning. Colin finally crawled back into his home, just outside Bury St Edmunds. 4:30. I hope you're doing much better now, Colin, after a night's sleep. We've got Tractor Boy Botswana. Remember the 4 terms to building a high-performance team. Forming, storming, norming, and performing. Well, on Tuesday, we were rather boring. There we go. Infamous Greggy G. Throwing some McGregor X and Y employees and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we get this one sussed, Botswana. Welcome in, Mike. Welcome in, Stephen. Jason's in the room. Welcome in, Jason. You have a safe day back on Tuesday, Crunch. He didn't go. Colin, I'd like to say my trip to Cheltenham on Tuesday was lovely. But for other reasons, apart from the football, I just can't. It was a total shambles from start to finish. That is an absolute shame from what you were telling me. As always, there'll be a live link coming into the chat. Thank you to all those that do support us on Ko-Fi as well. That link is also available for you. Thankful Thursday. And I'm very much thankful for you all. Before we go any further, I probably should just kick off the show with some fantasy football, because we are here to talk about professional football, and then we'll pivot and talk about Ipswich Town. So Adam Flatt, would you believe, is currently leading the Talking Town Fantasy Football League with 111 points. Unbelievable. The guy disappears for 3 months, 40 days and 40 nights, Adam Flatt, and then when he does return, he tops the fantasy football league. I mean, that's just he went away obviously to learn under in a Buddhist temple where he was just at one with fantasy football for months and months, obviously, and now he's come back full of the knowledge. Second place is Cameron Willett. I am in 10th, which I'm taking. I'm taking that, to be fair, because that is currently leading most contributors, if not all contributors. You can still join us. I will put the details on the screen. Right, first of all, you've seen who's with me. Let's bring one of them in. Let's bring, of course, our resident fisherman. I'm not sure if he's in the fantasy football. If he's not, he should be, because I reckon he'd be pretty good at it.
No, pretty Caroline. Stone cold stunner. She was a winner, started working at the dime. Serves his love remind to count your blessings, 'cause it's telling put you down and leave you dead. Don't make them scared. Yeah, it's the ugly truth. How they come and hook you.
I don't know what to say on that, really, other than...
Here comes Pep Brown. Here he is, Pep Guardiola's apprentice, Mike Brown. Mike, welcome in. So you are in the Fantasy Football League. I do apologise. You were just so far down the list, it fell off the bottom. How are you, my friend? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yourself?
I'm very well. Yes, very well. Slightly still a bit miffed over Tuesday. How are you feeling? We've got a couple of topics to talk about, obviously, about it. But how are you feeling sat here post Cheltenham?
I'm just still concerned. But I've thought about this long and hard and ever since, the game, and I am, still very concerned. There's a couple of things that just don't sit right with me at the moment, but it's early days and that.
Look at this. Look, Facebook user. They just weren't at the races at Cheltenham. That's just a quality line, to be fair. It's a quality line. Crunch was asking if Hox is at the game Saturday. Yeah, Hox at the game Saturday. Colin Brown, welcome in, Mike Brown. No, Colin Plum, welcome in, Mike Brown. Ben Moore looks more like Mike Phelan. What a great.
I had a shave. I was going to jump in the shower beforehand, but I ran out of time, so I'm going to have to jump in there after this. So
do not worry.
Nice and freshly looked.
Have you made any substitutions to your fantasy lineup this week?
No, I'm sticking with it. I believe that the teams or players I've got in there are good enough to get me some good points. There's a lot of goals in that team. That's just, look, Fernandez.
It's just got a gel, right? It's just got a gel, right?
Yeah.
It has. It's just got a gel. That's all it's got to do. Do not worry. Honestly, I'm now while you're talking, I'm trying to find your team just to see who you've got, but you are so far down the list.
Legacy United.
Name doesn't get. Oh, here we go. Legacy United. Here we go. So your team lineup is Edison, Mings, Maguire, Tarkowski, Keane, Guandagan, Madison, Zaha, Greenwood. Team you pick. You got a Norwich player up front.
Pookie.
Yeah.
Well, he's one of them. Yeah. Look, he's going to score goals. He's the only player in that team that's going to score goals, isn't he?
Oh my! I mean, we need a Peaky to sort you out. We do. I've just introduced him all wrong. It should be Mark Tuxford and Des and Troy. Des and Troy in the building. How you doing, Tux?
I'm good. How are you, mate? You right?
That's the picture. You're flexing it hard there, aren't you?
I do try.
You borrowed your 10-year-old brother's T-shirt to have the picture taken. It's like you just proper squeeze into it. How you doing? So, Cruncher calls you the voice of reason. So, as a result, we've got to ask you this evening our like total. So, to give you some information, we currently have just shy of 100 people watching on YouTube. So, how many likes do you think this show should get from the wonderful people?
Well, I reckon it's got to be about 200 at the very least.
Oh,
At the very
200.
least.
There you go.
Yeah.
There's your like target. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you're one of those 96 people on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're watching it back, smash it now. Give us some love. And otherwise, you'll have the boys sent round, the Peaky Blinder boys sent round. There's a lot of love for your intro. Owen Griffiths, Tuxford gets a bigger intro than most WWE wrestlers. Hey, look, I fancy myself a bit of a Vinnie Mac, so you'll take that. And you're wearing some Phoenix Rising merch tonight.
Yeah, bought some Phoenix merch for our wonderful owners. So yeah, I thought it just got to be done. I know that Cruncher's got a couple of bits as well, so yeah, I thought I'd get involved.
Well, yeah, you've bought yours. Cruncher got his sent. I got told I'd get sent some. Never arrived. I mean, that just sums up where I am, really, doesn't it? Dog's body of it all. But okay, right. I asked the fisherman, let's ask yourself before we get into some topics. How are you feeling about Tuesday as a whole right now?
Well, I don't know what I'm more upset about, Tuesday or that Mike's got Pookie in his fantasy team.
I know. It's got to be a forfeit for that, right?
I don't know what is going on there.
Look.
No, he's not. He's starting.
Money, yeah. I had to go to the dregs to get a forward in that team. You know.
You sound like Marcus Evans. You don't get a nobody up front, Mike. That's hanging up with Drennan and Hawkins.
He scored a load of goals last time he was in there. Look, I don't know. He plays for them. I couldn't give a shit. But either way, he's the only one that's going to score goals in that team, and goals means prizes.
All right, Mark. Well, I think we're going to come up with a forfeit for it because I think having a Norwich player
running out of money. I had so many good players in there that I was running out of money.
Play with 10 men, quite frankly, because this is Talk Ipswich Town. This is Talk Town. This is not Talk Norwich City, is it? Fuck off over there, side of the YouTube playground, and put that in your fantasy team. So, Mark, Cheltenham, talk to me. We're at the races, as somebody said on Facebook. How did you see it?
Yeah, that was a great line. But I must admit, I didn't actually watch it. But I can't really comment too much. I'm not one of these sort of people that doesn't watch a game and then tries to comment on all of it. But from the the highlights that I saw, Bond's miss was should be putting that in all day long. Really, I don't know why he couldn't just head it in, to be honest. But yeah, it's from what I've heard. By the way, Cole Brooks, big shout out to him because he's been keeping me updated with most stuff going on recently. But yeah, it's it was disappointing because, you know, as we said a couple of weeks ago, that, you know, you think about the first 3 games of this season, you couldn't pick a better 3. Do you know what I mean? So unfortunately, we're not at the races, but we also need to gel, and that's quite apparent, especially with their first. I think it was either their first or second goal, from what I've seen. That, you know, essentially Wolfenden and Burgess were looking at each other to say who's clearing it, and you know, you don't know that because you don't know which one's going to do that because Burgess has only just arrived in the building. So it's one of them. But I'm confident. I'm not the cookout brigade or anything silly like that. It's, you know, it's going to take time, and we've got players to bed in, and very good quality players, by the way. So yeah, it's patience. It's patience.
Patience. Yeah, and I think that's a couple of people certainly said that on the show, post game show the other night. A couple of people also said, how much patience do you have? Is there a time limit in your mind for patience? Do you have a target? Do you have a moment of time where you've already penciled it in as I'm going to be reviewing the situation?
Well, for me, you know, it doesn't matter what season it is. You know, whatever position you are in the league, you know, the time comes when it really kind of matters is, you know, the sort of, you know, October, November sort of time when you've got that kind of like, you know, transition period out of the way and all that type of thing. And that's when you should really be picking up results, whether it be points or 3 points or whatever. You know, you need to be picking up results by then because you need to be in the mix of it. And then, you know, you can go on a good run. And then, you know, we've seen teams in the past that go on a good run and, you know, put results together and get promoted out of it. But, you know, for me, I'd probably be looking, if we're still like this and we're still not getting results, players aren't playing well or whatever else, then, you know, you probably got to look at it maybe at November time. But this is a season of transition. You know, we can't forget that. You know, we're not. For me, I don't think we're going straight up in terms of like, you know, first or second. I think it's a third really for me. You know, a lot of people are saying that, you know, we're spending money and whatever else, and, you know, we're going to just actually, you know, piss the league basically. But this is a new team. Like last season, we kept 5 or 6 of the players that we've had from last year. You can't expect miracles like this. You know, I know we got quality in the building now, but it's patience. I keep saying the word patience, and it's just something that our fans have got to realise. The team have got to realise, and Cook's got to realise as well. And I think the owners are going to give him time. You know, I think that's the main thing. But yeah, I mean, for me, I'll be looking at probably November potentially.
Many fans, though, Mike, would argue he's already had 20, so it's not 3 as some say, and there is time to be given, but not perhaps as much time as Mark's suggesting there. I think maybe you're on that side of the fence. I may be right or wrong in saying that. How are you viewing what Mark's just said there in terms of time and being patient? Because he's already had, what, 20 odd games?
Look, we talk about, we were in a chat earlier, Martin, when it's saying some giving some info, and I did some digging. We're not the only team in these leagues to buy loads of players and do a rebuild, you know, bringing like 12, 13 players. Other teams, not just in our league, in the Championship and in the and they're all doing a lot far better than we are. I've stated I am my biggest concern is this. He doesn't have his assistant with him. I you know, all the great teams have had good assistant coaches. They're like a yin and yang in your you know, you make a decision, your assistant coaches look, change. No, we need to do it now. Let's get it done. You know, you need to sometimes have that person in your ear hole strong enough to stand up to you. You know, Lambert was never the same when Culverhouse won. I'm not so sure. That's my biggest concern with Cook. I think, you know, without his assistant, he's number 2. His record at Ipswich. I know a lot of the players we had last year, but his record at Ipswich is shocking. Really, it's not the best, is it?
No, but as Stephen just said, it was with players he didn't want and players he publicly said he didn't like. So I'll be fair in holding that against him.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. So there was players there that he didn't rate, didn't like, whatever. But you know, as much as I hate to say it, Lambert got more out of them, didn't he? And had a
Well, it was his
better
squad,
record
though.
with them. And
It was
I
his-
was one last season saying, look, we need to, we need to get a better manager, get better out of them. Well, Cook came in, and look. People say, oh, this number 2 thing is a lot of crap. Well, no, it isn't. Good number 2s come in and they make a team. A team is just 11 players on the pitch. It's your bench, it's your coaches and your staff that make a good team. If you've got it right in that and you get it right, then you get it right on the pitch. Substitutions at the weekend as well. They were just like strange. The midfield looked disjointed. It just second half we just looked an absolute shambles. And I know, like you say, we could say, oh, well, this new team syndrome. Oh, we got a gel and all that. These are pros. They're professional footballers. What you got to do is look up and find a blue shirt and pass to it. Ain't hard, is it?
No, well, okay. Tim Springbean, simply daft to still be traumatic last season. That is history. There are strange circumstances. Spring, can you just let me know what the strange circumstance in your mind was, so I'll bring that back up and we'll discuss that with the guys just when you've clarified what you feel the strange circumstances was. Josh, the assistant thing is an easy thing to bring up. Don't think it's relevant. Facebook user at the fans forum, we were asked to be the 12th man and be patient, and already some are asking questions, and one bloke is even so delusional he thinks Peaky will score goals. Mark, assistant manager wise, do you feel that's is that a red herring? Is that something to be looking into as it progresses through the season, or do you think actually it's not that huge of a big deal at all?
No, I do agree with Mike. I think, it is, you look at managers and they've always got their kind of trusted right-hand man, haven't they? And, as Mike says, Lambert had Culverhouse, and, Cook's had Richardson with him for most of it as well. So, yes, I think it has an impact on it, because for me, I'm probably a little tiny bit concerned about, Gary Roberts. I mean, how much kind of coaching experience has he had? I mean, he's just obviously retired from last year from playing, actually playing. He's probably done his coaching badges or whatever else, but he hasn't had that experience. And it's like what Mike is saying, if, you trust your assistant to be in your ear to kind of like give you that opinion, that second opinion essentially. But what you don't need is a yes man. You can't have that kind of yes man in your ear all the time. But you've also got Franny Jeffers, who's come from Everton. Again, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? He's another new one. He's had experience at Everton and stuff like that, but he's another new face. So it obviously does make a difference. But ultimately, Cook wouldn't pick these people unless he trusted them. So I think that's what you've got to look at. And, things happen. Richardson is obviously doing well at Wigan. So it's one of these sort of things where he wants to do his own thing. But yeah, I think it does play a part. It does play a part. But I think ultimately it's what we do on the pitch. And, we are a new team. And I must admit, in terms of Cook making some sort of decisions, especially the one with Fraser at the moment, where he's playing out wide on the right, I completely disagree with that. He was banging form for MK Dons last year, and he plays in that number 10 role. That's his position, and I'm sick of seeing, our club shoehorning players into a team just to get them on the pitch. It doesn't work. It never has. Wherever you are, not just Ipswich, wherever it is, it doesn't work if you shoehorn players in. Fine if you're going to do it for 1 or 2 games, but over the course of a season, we've seen Keane do it, we've seen Lambert do it, we've seen Hurst do it quite a lot. It never worked for him. So I don't want Cook to do that. And he's kind of come out and said he doesn't want to do that, but he's doing it with Fraser, which I don't get.
Yeah, if you look at every signing that we've made this summer, you do feel like everyone's got a plan attached to it, like a plan of how we're going to use them and in what way. With Fraser, it almost seems like we've been given he's been given the number 10 that's been the best number 10 in League One for the last 2 years, and he didn't quite want him. We weren't quite sure about him, and now he's like trying to figure out where he can play him.
Well, I mean, you just got to look at players like, it's the wide situation that's probably the main one. And if you're shoehorning players out wide, then you've only got to look at someone like Sears, Judge. They've been victims of that kind of treatment where, they play 1 or 2 games there, and all of a sudden they play their career out there. As an Ipswich career, and it's not done them any favours at all. Sears joined this club as a goal scorer. McCarthy put him out wide to fill in the gap. and now he's a left winger apparently.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you know,
Spring Bring Cook came in with a short period of time to decide who he wanted to keep and who he wanted to get shot off. He gave everyone a fair crack of the whip. That was the right thing to do. Okay. In terms of Cheltenham, which one player do you feel you wouldn't be surprised if they were dropped come Saturday at 3 p.m. when you walked in Portman Road and saw the players coming out? Who on Tuesday had a bad enough game that you feel if they weren't there on Saturday, it's justifiable? I'll go first if you like. I'll go with. See, it's a toss up because Hladky's not made a save yet for me. That's been decent. He hasn't. I'm not saying put Holy in goal. Full stop. Never. But it's probably going to be Evans. But I hesitate to say Evans because I don't know where you two are going to go. So I'm trying to leave an obvious one open. Chucks, what about yourself?
I mean, it's unfair for me to kind of say from the Cheltenham results. I didn't watch the game, but I think from what I've heard, it seems that Evans is, he had a very good first game. Went a bit missing after he got a booking apparently. So, it's difficult one. I mean, in that midfield you have got players to bring in like Carroll. I think that's a really good signing for us. So, Evans might be one of them. He's obviously just come back from kind of an injury last year as well. So, he might kind of switch him up a little bit in that middle as well. But
yeah, I
think for me, it's kind of it's probably the wingers really, and I'd like to see Wes Burns come back in. If it's not Burns, it's got to be Dobra out there. I would have thought. It just goes back to the point about Fraser being out wide. It's not going to work. I would like to see a little bit more of Bon, I suppose. I know he scored already, but I'd like to see a bit more from him starting, and hopefully he can make up for his miss the other night as well.
Yeah, midfield has been an issue, Mike. Evans, I said Evans, but it could equally have been Harper. One of the two, the partnership, maybe it just needs more time. But the partnership, how are you viewing the partnership? Because there just seems to be something over the last 180 minutes of football that's just appeared off a little bit.
For me, the midfield is a bit of a dolly mixture. We really don't know who's doing what their roles are. That for me is like, look. If we go on last season, we knew where Downs would play. He would play a holding role, and we all knew that was his position. But what is Evans' position and what's Harper's position? Because there were times when Harper was wide right, and there was times when Evans was like wide left, and there was so much gap in that midfield. There was times that Cheltenham just passed through us, and I just kind of felt we've really got no defensive midfielder there, and I thought that was what Evans was brought in for. This is why I'm a great fan of 3-5-2, because at least if you've got that one holding midfielder in front of the back three, you know what his role is, and he's there to protect the back three to protect the goalie, and etc. And to me, neither of them looked like they were holding against Cheltenham, and again against Morecambe, I didn't think they were holding against Morecambe either. And it was quite. Look, there is positives this season. I know that we've talked, but the passing's crisper.
Yes,
I said that last year. It was very, very slow. It was slow. This year, the ball is being pinged about a lot more. Again, at the weekend, I was a bit annoyed. As usual, I was annoyed about the wing backs not getting forward enough. Jury's out on Penny. Yes, he scored, but I mean, it weren't exactly great goalkeeping. If you're talking about goalkeeping, it weren't great goalkeeping. And people calling for Hladky to be dropped. I mean, they're absolutely out of their brain cells, aren't they? Really, let's be honest. You're going to put Holy in goal. You might as well. No disrespect, but you might as well stick an elderly man in his 90s in the goal than Holy. He's more chance to dive. Look, Hladky's number one. Look, he's
based on what?
Sorry.
Based on what?
Well, based on the fact he's better than bloody Holy.
Based on what?
Well, based on the fact that it's better than Holy. Did you see was it Newark game or whatever that game we played? Where did we play?
Colchester. Yeah.
Yeah, Colchester, and then we had that Mickey Mouse Cup game, didn't we? And he was shocking.
I'm not arguing for Holy.
No disrespect, but we watched Holy last year.
Yeah, he was shit, and he is
honestly,
shit.
Cardboard cutouts were doing better job in goal. Haladji, easy for me to say, right? He for me is the number one goalkeeper at the moment. Would I be disappointed if we got someone else in? No, I wouldn't be disappointed because I think maybe we could do with a third goalkeeper, someone to really push Holy and Haladji a bit more. Look, he's a lot more dominant in the air. He's a lot more vocal than Holy. I think he's a better keeper all round. I'm not saying he's perfect because clearly he's not perfect, but he's a better goalkeeper than Holy all day long and Saturdays and Sundays.
He is without a doubt. Yes, and I wasn't arguing for Holy. I was arguing in the case of him being the undisputed number one because for me 3 games in, and me and you debate this quite often about what he should or shouldn't have done goal wise. I feel he could have had a hand in all of them we conceded. Penny Tux, left back, got Coulson obviously in there now available, a player we've been chasing most of the summer. Is it a formality that eventually it'll be a natural Coulson coming in for Penny, or because how do you see that left sided position or battle going down?
It's like any player that plays for this club. You've got to play well to keep the shirt. If you're playing well and you keep the shirt, you've kept the shirt. It's as simple as that. I don't see why someone else should come in unless it's tactically, obviously. But Coulson will get his chance because Penny might not be at the races one game or whatever else, but he'll come in and it's up to Coulson to then keep that shirt. So yeah, it's an interesting battle. I think on paper probably Coulson's the better player, but that's really based on going forward. I would have thought more than anything else. But yeah, I'm more concerned about the right side, if I'm honest, because Denessian for me is not a right back whatsoever. I think he's much better as a centre half.
Yeah,
so Cook wants to play the attacking fullbacks. Denessian doesn't get forward. You can't play in there if you want to get your fullbacks forward. And there was a lot of hoo-ha about whether Denessian should have gone out on loan to Fleetwood last year. In all of his time that I've seen him, I don't think he's that great. I know there was a lot of people just kind of saying, well, bring him back, he's better than everyone else, blah, blah. He isn't. It's as simple as that. It's a bit like Toto. I'm so surprised that he's part of this squad because he's a calamity, an absolute calamity at the back there.
So I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that.
I'm so surprised that he's there because he even went out on loan to Bolton, did nothing there either.
Do you look at JD Tux, and do you look at him as a centre back playing right back or a right back playing centre back?
I think he's a centre half really playing right back. I mean, actually he played left back, didn't he? So he was kind of covering positions and stuff like that. But it's actually easier to play full back than it is centre back because you've only got one side to cover. So I don't know why you would be a centre back and be you're a good centre back but can't play full back. If anything, it should be the other way around really. But yeah, he's much more of a centre half, and he'd probably be my fourth choice centre half behind the 2 that have just come in and Wolfenden, and then Toto can find another club as far as I'm concerned.
Not a huge fan of him then.
No, he's a Titus Brown ball with a mistake always waiting to happen. I don't think I've seen a player give away a penalty so much in all of my life.
Steady now, Tux. You're talking about a guy who's on the side of the cobblestone now. So. Steady with the Titus Bramble comparisons, Ashley Bell, Cook said he's centre midfielders there to protect the back four and cover the full-backs when they bomb on. Yeah, they need to be a bit better than that then, really, because they've not done that job in my view so well. Tuesday's still stinging me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It's still every time I think about it or log onto YouTube, I didn't realise Cheltenham had so many fans. The full-time show has certainly attracted the Cheltenham fans. It's still stinging me a little bit because of standards and professionalism. I was listening to Talk Norwich City before I came on air and their review of the Liverpool game. And I was just thinking, it's very similar. And I'm not comparing us to Liverpool, but of course we're not Liverpool. But in actual league comparison terms, we probably are. We've got a bigger budget than Cheltenham. We should have better players than Cheltenham, and it should have been a case of needing to just compete with Cheltenham, and your natural quality will shine through. And the second half, we didn't have the fight and the bite and the professionalism. which is why we lost the game, because the first half we did, and our natural ability, as it should, shone through. We've got
I
better
thought
players.
tactically we were outthought. If I'm honest, I thought
I
tactically
thought we were
their coach did a better job.
not outthought. I thought we were outthought, not outthought. I thought, honestly, that's the one game I've watched under Cookie where I've really felt with his players. This is not under.
In the first half, we were doing a lot more pushing. Yeah. In the second half, their fullbacks bombed onto us, and our fullbacks were dropping, and that was getting right on my nerves. Just push their fullbacks forward. As soon as we get the ball, we need to be running up. You didn't see, no disrespect, right? But you didn't see the Gary Nevilles or the Dennis Irwins, right? When they've got the ball sitting there in their own half, they bombed on, giving width and overlaps and stuff like that.
But then doesn't that also come back onto the manager though? Because if you can see it sat in Haverhill, why were we not looking to enforce changes? Box by Fab says Cheltenham absolutely hammered you. Second half they did, yeah, absolutely did. And that's just why it stings me, Tuck, because it's all about, like, in the summer from Ashton, we've heard about standards. We've heard from Cook saying we will get beat. Of course we will, but we won't get beat because of lack of effort, desire. But on Saturday, for example, I don't like losing, but I had no problem with it per se, because I felt we gave it our all. A penalty decided it either way. And I couldn't ask more from 11 men. Tuesday, on the other hand, I really felt second half they may as well have just got on the bus and gone home early and got home an hour earlier. They weren't there.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously disappointing because, you know, you'd think on paper, as I said before, you know, first 3 games of the season, you'd think, you know, you'd at least kind of get 6 points out of that. You'd think, but you know, it's a long season. You know, we haven't won it yet. You know, football isn't played on paper. You know, we have to gel. And this is the main thing that, you know, people are getting carried away with, you know, Cookout, whatever else. You know, he's had 20 odd games, blah blah blah. Fact is, last season they weren't his players. That's fine. Write that off. We don't need to talk about that anymore. But this season, you know, we've had 3 games. Okay, we've not been out the races at all with them, really, when you think about it. But we've got to have time to gel. We have to have time. This is a transitional period. If we sit here and sack managers after 3 games and sack the goalkeeper after 3 games, where are we going with this? Do you know what I mean?
But Cook's not had 3 games, has he?
Well,
he has this season. He has this season.
But he's not had 3 games.
That's the split.
Look, I'm not in the Cookout brigade. I'm not. I'm concerned. There's no 2 ways about it. You know, but he's, you know, this gel word, you know, we're not, like I said earlier, you know, we're not the only team in this league and other leagues that have brought in a lot of new players, and yet we're the only ones that are really. Well,
you know, when you bring that amount of players in, you need to need to have that time to gel, but you also need to find out what your best team is, and that's what I'm saying. Where you know, you can't make wholesale changes for the MK Dons game because you'll then bring another set of players in that all have to gel again. So you need to keep that consistency. So, you know, we might not win it against MK Dons, but you need to have that sort of same 11 again for the next game because it breeds consistency. You know, not results-wise, but the team-wise, you need to have that team in place.
So, in a weird sort of way, can the injuries that are maybe starting to happen actually be of a benefit to Cookie because it narrows those options down?
Yeah,
early doors.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's never good to have quality players out injured, but there's enough depth in that squad. There's enough quality in that squad for them to go out and beat an MK Dons. Of course there is. They should have been beating Morecambe and Cheltenham without a shadow of a doubt. I'm disappointed in that. But let's look realistically at the fact that we need to gel as a team. That is the main thing here. And, you know, you have to have that spine in your team as well. We've not had a spine in our team for God knows how long. Right, since kind of like the Scouse and Bearers and, you know, that kind of 14-15 season, we had a very strong spine there. You had Murphy up front. We need to create that. We've got the quality there, but it's putting it all together. So we're worrying at the moment because we haven't got any points. We've got a point on the board, but you know, we just have to have patience.
Before I bring in a couple of people, I'm going to ask you both. So you talk about MK Dons this Saturday. We'll come on to that into our teams a bit later on. But I wouldn't say it's a must-win, because it's only our 4th game. But if you don't start stacking some wins together and maybe these next 4 or 5, you're then playing catch up. Is that then an issue for you? How are you viewing MK and Wimbledon, and then the one after? So next three, Wickham. How are you viewing those three? As what, 4 points a minimum return? Otherwise, it's catch up time already, and it starts to get into a game of chase. Or how are you viewing it?
Well, they're all winnable games, aren't they? You know, at the end of the day, nobody's. You know, this is not the Premier League. You're not coming against the Cities, Chelsea's, United's, whoever. They're all winnable games. We've got enough quality in our squad to win those games. If we get to MK Dons, don't win. If we get to Wimbledon, don't win. Obviously, you know, fans are going to be on his back, but it's up to him to kind of change that. He's got to change those players' mentality, you know, the players themselves potentially. But this is what I keep saying in terms of consistency. We need to have that consistency going forward. But, you know, as well, I think, you know, he's going to get time to have this opportunity to bed these players in. Because what you're going to do, you're going to go get another manager in that's going to bring either his own set of players in January, but he's still got to get this team to gel. Mm. But these are his players, so if anyone's going to get the best out of him, you would think it would be Cook. You know, these players have come to play for Cook. You know, it's not like last season where, you know, they couldn't be asked to train or they couldn't be bothered to, you know, put the effort in. Essentially, they want to be here. Chaplin wants to be here. Edmondson wants to be here. These are players that have come here and probably played under him previously and know what he's like.
Yeah, absolutely. A few comments before I bring in Steve. We've got Preston Pump. We've got Jason Clayton. Cheltenham crowd were quiet until they got the equaliser. Matt says the only gel which we able to mention should be that on Barry's hair. All of 2 minutes, Barry. That wasn't a great sub in my opinion. Ryan Senior. Why are fans not? Why is we fan? Sorry, Ryan. I can't quite. Why are fans not minding? No, I still can't. I still can't, Ryan. I've tried 3 times. Sorry, mate. Frank. Hi, mate. Keep the faith. Sort the defence, and we'll be fine. Sort the defence, and we'll be fine, Steve. How you doing? Obviously, you talked about players that maybe didn't stand out on Tuesday. The manner of the defeat on Tuesday. What are your thoughts?
I watched the game again. I always think it's fun to watch the game when you know the result. You can analyse it better when you already know what's going to happen. You know, it's not as much of a shock. You know, then something stood out to me. You know, there was 2 or 3 things that stood out to me. One, with KVY being rested, I think Burns being injured was a big miss 100%. Because he would have slotted in there, and that would have given us that width on the rise. Another thing was Evans getting booked so well. I think that negated what he wanted to do. And it was like neutered. And another big thing, which I think a lot of people missed, was our biggest plus point was Edwards. He was the only guy who was making an effort. And I don't know whether anybody remembered it, but when the West Brom guy was on here, he said he fades after about 50 or 60 minutes. And he did. And after 50 or 60 minutes, we got nothing else from him. Yeah. Everyone was saying, oh, we'll pass it to him. He was out of the game. His race was run. He should have been subbed. Yeah. Now that's where I think Fraser will come in eventually to replace Edwards, because I think, you know, we can have this. Well, he's got to play as a number 10. Well, stop calling for 2 strikers then, because you're not going to get 2 strikers and Fraser as a number 10. It just isn't going to happen. So you either have 2 strikers in Ball and Piggott, or you have Fraser as a number 10. You can't have both. So if we're having Fraser as a number 10, then we don't have 2 strikers. If we're calling for 2 strikers, Fraser's going to have to be on the bench because it's not going to fit. If he's not a right-footed player, well, you can. Well, it's true, Mike. You can talk about going 5-3-2. We ain't going to do that.
No.
End up. So makes no difference what we say. It's what's going to happen. At best, he's going to go 4-4-2, or he'll go, 4-5-1. Or 4-2-3-1 or whatever it is. Well, within that parameter, we either have 2 strikers, one in front of each other, or one of them places is took up by Fraser. And Fraser's on the bench and he comes on to replace Edwards when Edwards starts to flag at 60 minutes. To me, that sounds like probably the best thing.
Let me ask you this, Steve. You said Harper faded.
He did.
So do you want Cook to be more proactive with substitutions and take the ball by the horns? Or because you had Carroll on there. Surely he could do 20 minutes.
I was screaming at half time. I was screaming at half time for Carroll to come for Evans because Evans was neutered after that booking. There's nothing he could do. Everybody knows how Cook plays. He has his two central defenders. His fullbacks go forward exactly the same as he does at Wigan, and then two midfielders. When them fullbacks go forward, they go back to defend. I know you don't like it, Pep, but at the end of the day, that's the fact. That's what he does. That's what he did at Wigan. That's what he did at Portsmouth. That's what he's going to do here. We don't like it. That's shit. We get a new manager. But that's what he's done. That's what he's doing. Now, once he's been booked, he's neutered. He can't go in for them risky challenges. He can't go in for them set 50-50s. He's neutered. So get him off and bring somebody else on. If that's at half time, so be it. But he had the option, and he ended up coming on at 76. But for that period of time, Evans was doing very little because he couldn't. Otherwise, he was going to end up going off the field. So we've got to think about where we are. And I think those injuries have hurt us because he's already restricted on what he can do. Like I said, with KVY needing an arrest, he could have brought Burns on. Somebody else could have gone on the right wing. I think he's restricted in what he can do because of the injuries. But I think all in all, it's probably going to come out. I saw him far too much in that first half to think, we did have a tough start. People say it's an easy start. On paper, it's an easy start. When you're playing a team that throws balls in like this house, they're not bloody easy. You ask Arsenal, yeah? You've got a team who's just come up promoted with Morecambe, who's not doing too badly. And you've got, Jimmy Floyd, Hasselbank, Burton. Trust me, there's a lot of teams who would not want to put those first three games. I can tell you that now. They'd have preferred get teams that have played last year and they know exactly what they're all about. We had nothing. We have no idea what these teams are all about. We do know. And I'm pretty sure some other teams will find out what they're all about as well.
But you won't find easier either, Steve. Come the end of the season, when it's all said and done, you will look back at these two fixtures, I feel, and say, why we should have got more.
It's the same argument I used. If you look at the Brentford Arsenal game, yeah, I asked a Brentford fan. I said, "So you're going to be ahead of Arsenal at the end of the season?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, you just won." No, I know, but they're better than we are. End of.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be at the end of the season. But they still won. That's the way football happens.
But you can make it bottom dollar. Arsenal fans, coaches, players, they're not happy, particularly if coming to the season, Tux, that 3 points is all that separates them between 10th place.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to look at the Cheltenham game because obviously, Bon had that miss.
Yes, he did. Awful.
So, these are pivotal moments in a season.
Huge moments, yeah.
And the penalty miss, that goes in. Both games are won.
If my granddad wills, though, Steve, should be a bike,
Maybe, I don't know whether she is or not, though. But the point is, it's like I said, it's fine margins, isn't it?
This is the thing. These things even themselves up over the course of a season, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying that, we'll go and score another open goal, whatever. But what I'm saying is that, a team might not score an open goal or they might miss a penalty or 100%. Something like that. So this is what happens. And this is why it's so early on. People are getting so carried away with it. We just need to be patient.
I'm just like one point, yeah? I'm just glad we're facing Ben Tozer for a long time.
Fair enough.
Them balls terrified me, I'll tell you that.
Fair enough, Steve. As always, appreciate you, buddy. Adam Flatt is in the room, ladies and gentlemen. Our fantasy league current number one. Here he is. He's emerged from the, from his yoga, and he's emerged from his. I'm trying to think of the word. I still can't think of it. I couldn't think of it at the start of the show either. It's not a trance. It's something else. But he's emerged from it after reading several texts of fantasy football knowledge and stats, and here he is. He's made an appearance. We've got Ryan. Need to coach out these mistakes. That's what killed us last 3 games. Facebook user, got to stop conceding at the other end. Frank Edwards was unplayable Tuesday, especially first half. Need to give him the ball. And Facebook user, Cook didn't miss that tap in, and Cook didn't miss that open goal. Get off his back. Sally will smash MK Dons. Fraser will haunt them. I'll ask you about debuts, guys. Burgess and Edwards. Who had the better debut? It's really tough to pull apart because they both played phenomenally well on Tuesday night. But in your opinion, who had the better debut, Edwards or Burgess? Mike, kick us off before I bring Colin in.
Oh, Burgess by far.
Why?
Look, Edwards looked good, don't get me wrong. He just looked a more skillful Dobra. A lot of skill, a lot of twisting and turning. A little bit lost with the end product. And that was basically what I saw of Edwards. And I have watched the game now 3 times. And, people going about fine margins but to win this league, to actually get promotion, you need players to actually do their jobs. That miss was a shocker. The penalty was shambolic. I could have took that and hit it with more pace. That's not fine margins. That's just lack of effort. Lack of belief, lack of, I'm going to bury this. You ain't saving this. If I hit this so wide, you ended up in the back of the net with him, with the ball. Do you know what I mean? That's the type of penalties, that you want. I mean, in Christ's life, Harry Maguire's never been one for taking penalties, but probably the best penalty that was taken in the final. And in fact, probably one of the best penalties taken in the Euro. That was just absolutely levered, and there's no way we're stopping it. Burgess for me was really good. I thought he was really good. I agree with Hux. JD shouldn't be playing right back. I said he's a centre back all day long. I think he's got less mistakes in him than Enciala, and I would have him and I'd have him and Burgess at the moment as a centre backs, and KBY as a right back. That would be or Coulson, whoever, depending who's fitting that. But for me, I just think that Burgess had a better. Really, I thought he looked like he'd been playing for us for a while. He looked really composed. I didn't think there was much wrong. Passed the ball well, had his head up. And I just think he'd done a really good job. Again, Wolfie was a little bit dodgy. But he didn't have a bad game. That weren't his bad game. Worst game he's played. There's no two ways about it. It was an improvement on the last 2 games. But, somebody else, Kingy there, captain material. That ain't a bad shout. It would release the pressure off Evans. And I don't think Evans is, for me, it just doesn't breed captain material. But Burgess looks like he just wants to, a lot more of aggression. I think Wolfie helped. He helped Wolfie a bit there. I think Wolfie was a little bit more up for it, a little bit more aggressive with his tackles. Look, penalty. What the hell was he doing there? Should never be coming back and making a tackle in the area like that. Just jockey him, hold him up, block the shot, whatever. But don't try and make a tackle in the area like that. And that's like I say. So for me, Burgess.
All right, lots of love in the chat for Burgess and a lot of captain materials. Lee Anderson says a Wilson upgrade. Neil Perks, Fraser to play number 10 on Saturday, sure to get the best out of him. Ben says Burgess was leading Wall through the game, which was needed. Absolutely was needed. Ash still thinks we'll get a backup right back in. Burgess looked assured and calm, says James B. So a lot of love for Burgess. Edwards, meanwhile, Tux, I'm sure you've seen the Twitter love for him. Was phenomenal. Could beat a man and looked in 45 minutes to be far too good for League One. So you've got to be excited to see what he can do Saturday at Portman Road.
Yeah, from the highlights I've seen, he looks a real sort of class act, really. But it's something that kind of Mike touched on earlier that we need to get the ball to him, and obviously Cook has said that as well. So. You need to give the ball to your best players. It's as simple as that. You look at the sides that will probably do well this year. They'll give the ball to their best players. It's like last season. McGeady was always on the ball, setting up. White to score goals. But that's what we need to do. And I feel like he's a good player to come in. Cook's been looking at him for a while. He's a good signing. I'm really sort of excited to see what he can obviously do in a Town shirt.
Absolutely, yeah, me too. Right, quick word from one of our sponsors, Away Day Beers. These are my 2 favourites. Why they're empty, sadly. Very sad times when these 2 get empty. If you are going to order from Away Days, I do recommend ordering the Hoppy Robson, which is number 1 in my book. But the Bundeslager is definitely a close second. So if you've not yet had either of those, get ordering, get tasting, and let me know what you think on Twitter, social media, in the chats. But here is their wonderful advert created by their owner and founder, Josh. What a great little tune that is. You just wait for it to go bow, 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 bow. I want to hear the rest of the song. Colin, you probably could have done about 800 of these on Tuesday night on the way home, but obviously be on the supporters coach. You're not allowed. But I did see you drinking out the hip flask a lot. Medicinal purpose, wasn't it? You didn't get home till
Yeah.
4:30. Talk to us about your
No,
Tuesday night.
3:30 actually, man. 20
Makes all
to
the
4 I got
difference.
into bed.
Oh, my mistake.
Even Tux, even Martin, even
Good evening, sir.
Mike. Right. Yeah, where do we start? Yeah. We'll start on the game. I mean, I thought first half, I said to Hawks at half time, to Callie at half time. I think that's just as good a football I'd seen for quite a long while. It was really, really good stuff, and there was people impressing. Burgess, obviously, it was. If we'd have scored that second goal after about 9-10 minutes, whenever it was, I said to a lad and his girlfriend who was standing beside me. They were from Norwich, actually, believe it or not, but they were Ipswich sports. And I said to him, if you'd have put that in, I think this could just be anything, 3-4 by half time. I think they would have completely gone, but everybody said at second half, no, came at 2 halves, yes. Should we have got something out of the game? I think on the first half performance we definitely deserved a point, but yeah, like everybody quite rightly said, we should be beating the likes of Cheltenham. Anyway, getting on to obviously what you want to hear about. I went on the coach because there's reasons. Obviously, it was a night game, and also both my boys were working, couldn't get off work, blah blah blah. So I thought to myself, I didn't really know too many people around me who were actually going or whatever. Although, having said that, I did find out one or two later on who actually went by car, which is a bit of a shame after what I actually heard later. But
where's he gone? Colin, where you going?
That's harsh. You abuser. Absolute abuser.
He cut him off. He cut him off.
I didn't do anything. I didn't touch.
Breaking news. He's cut him off.
I didn't touch the button.
He's cut the goat off. He's cut the goat
I
off.
didn't.
Absolute
Don't be
disaster.
saying that. They'll be coming for me with pitchforks. I didn't do anything. Owen, welcome in. While we wait for Colin to reappear from whatever hole he fell into, where he went? Colin, you want to make sure you pay for the electricity bill. What's been going on with you? Owen, welcome in. Yeah. follow that.
Yeah, I feel under extra pressure. I'm like the substitute teacher coming in for Colin. I don't think I can handle that pressure, but we'll see how the class goes. I just wanted to. Well, I agreed with a lot of what Stephen was saying. I think there are good signs coming. As you've mentioned, Edwards on the wing looks very handy. A lot of potential there. And also, when the lads who have got the knocks, the injuries, issues of fitness, when they get in and we've had a bit more time, I think things will start looking very, very good. Because, as people have mentioned, the football under Lambert was fucking terrible. And yet we managed to be there or thereabouts when he was gone. So with the better players we have now, with clearly a better manager, and whatever people think about him, when you look at his record, and I know he didn't win the Champions League as a player, but can't hold him to the plan. Sorry, it's not been mentioned in so long. I felt like I had to add it. But yeah, I just think it will get better. Bless you. And Macaulay Bonne, he'll get the ball in the back of the net next time, because I've watched that about 20-25 times, and each time I think he's going to score this time. No, he's going to head it. He's going to get it. And I just don't understand how the fuck he managed that, but there we are.
Owen, how did he miss it? In all honesty, how do you feel he missed?
I just feel like he's got excited and he's thinking, I'm going to fucking leather this in the back of the net. So rather than just heading it or chest it in or bundle it in, he thought, I'm going to smack this in because this is my team. I love this team. It's going to be a great moment. I can flip the bird to the Cheltenham fans, run to me own fat. Oh no, I missed it. And is terrible. But
it's woeful, yeah, it really is.
At least he got in the position.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's the other players sort of getting in those positions, I guess. But on to MK before I try and bring back Colin. He's not yet quite appeared on the dashboard yet. But what are your thoughts ahead of this Saturday?
I actually think their style of football is going to suit us. Cheltenham, horrible bastards. And my next door neighbour is William Boyle's dad. And he's had a bit to say about him getting the winning goal, as you can imagine, because he went to the local school here in Garforth in Leeds, did Will Boyle, and so they fucking love him. And him getting the winning goal, I was just, as soon as I saw that, because I was in work, I'm like, no, I'm not looking forward to the conversation with him. Yeah, with MK Don's style of football, they like to pass it around, they like to be quick. It's going to be all-out attack pretty much from what I've seen, which I think will suit us more. So that'll give us more opportunities. They don't have as many hard nuts, I don't think. So, yeah, I think we'll see what happens, won't we? But we've got the players to win. We do have the players that can win. And we're better than last year, no matter what.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from Leeds, stay healthy, stay well, and hopefully come back on and see us after we picked up, 3 points at MK at the weekend. Appreciate you coming on. Tux, how are you seeing MK this weekend?
Tough one. I think they're a good little side. I think Manning will become good as a really good manager, I think. But yeah, they're a decent little side. I know they've lost some sort of key players as well, but I think they've kind of built a team that can sort of go at it, I think, for this year. I think they'll cause us problems. But yeah, I agree. It's they potentially kind of suit us a little bit in terms of their style of play, because you've got to remember that the lesser teams, so to speak, will put 10 men behind the ball and stop us trying to play. Whereas if we play the better sides, they're going to want to come out and play, and they're going to want to score goals. So, we could, it could be a case that, we're actually better against the better teams than we are against the lesser teams. But, it's, I think, this weekend, it's a tough one, but, I'm confident that we can get something out of it. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay, your lineup this weekend you've gone for is on the screen right now. Hladky, Burgess, and Wolverton is there. Vincent Young, Penny, Evans, Harper, Fraser, Burns, Edwards, and Pigott. Fraser in the number 10. I think that's probably your overriding must for this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if Fraser's going to play, I can't remember who said it now. It might have been Mike, but it was a case that if he's going to play, he needs to play in the 10. If he's not, then go on the bench. But he's a player that needs to play in this side. I can see this being a player that we can build our team around for the future. And he gets the ball, he turns and he plays. That's the way that football should be. And I think we've been crying out for that kind of player for a while now. But yeah, he's wasted out wide. He's a quality player that needs to be in his rightful position. I did sort of, it was kind of a toss up between that sort of side, but also a 4-4-2. I would have probably taken Fraser out and possibly put Bon in there for 2 strikers up front instead, because you could play 2 at home and go for it really, and that might be something that probably needs to do a little bit more of, is go with 2 strikers and just score goals.
Yeah, absolutely. David, it's just ordered the Talking Town hoodie. David, you are winning at life. Thank you very much, sir. Carl Brooks, I think this Saturday we go with Pigott up top, Fraser in the 10, Burns, KVY right back, proper 4-2-3 with a playmaker in the 10, pace out wide, attacking fullbacks, bound to be poetry in motion. Mike, before I put your team on the screen, how are you seeing in this weekend for test of MK Dons?
I've gone for a win, only because I'm a Town fan, and I'd be, I think at some point we are going to get a win. I think I've gone 3-1. I think there's a good chance we can win this game. Like I said, what you've done to my team.
Sorry, mate. I pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, you want to be. I was going to say, I don't play that formation. Look, we have the thing is, people say about formations, we keep playing the same way. It's predictable,
Okay, so you have gone for You've gone for oh, fuck knows what this is.
Well, if you don't know what that is, you shouldn't be in football. That's all I'm going to say.
3-1-4-2.
No.
Tell us what it is.
Three in the back, holding midfield, 3-5-2. That's basically what it is. And you got your two wing backs. You're holding midfield, Evans, Fraser, Edwards, and Piggott supplying the front two.
Is Norwood fit now? Is he back?
Well, some would say he never started way in Ducks.
But if I was to bring a player back who was injured at the moment, I'd bring Norwood back all day.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I agree with that. I think Norwood is one of those sort of players that gets the game by the scruff of the neck, and as you saw against Morecambe, he comes on, sets Bon up to score, doesn't he? So he's a bit nasty. He'll put his elbow in if he has to. But yeah, I'd like to see a bit more of him. I know he's a bit Marmite amongst our fans, but yeah, I like Norwood.
Robert Smith, is that the famous tree? Is that the famous Christmas tree formation?
Well, that's done me well. Honestly, I think so. Honestly, some of these fans are saying, "No, we get thumped." Yeah, they were the same fans giving me stick because I put Danassian in the back, and yet he played really well when he came on. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, I think some fans in football, they support Ipswich, and I really don't think they understand the game. I really don't.
One swallow don't make a summer, Mike. You've got Mike. It's all in banter. It's all in banter. Don't get upset.
Oh no, I know that, but we've got. We're going to get thumped because of that formation or that team selection. I'm thinking you're talking out your ass.
We've got Matt Stannard. Like that, Fisherman. Lee Anderson said we miss Norwood midweek. I don't think we've ever missed Norwood. Owen says cheers for having me on. Ryan, Fisherman played too much Football Manager. Mike,
yeah, of course that, mate. Yeah, where's your credentials then? Come on the show and tell me, big boy.
Do you know when you have that nervous laugh when the guy who takes the pub, you don't know if he's actually joking or prepared to start bottling somebody, and just stand there laughing like, what the fuck have I walked into? Mike, chill, man.
I'm fine. I just find it hilarious when you get guys who say stuff like that when they can't even come on the show and give them their point of view.
You sort of remind me of Billy Bright from Football Factory, Mike.
Don't get Larry, Bill. It don't suit you. Spell it. No, I love that.
Don't worry, I'm back drilling. I think he'd have got that. He would have scored that goal. I'm telling you, he would have scored that goal. He wouldn't have missed what Bond did.
Why is the dude top right against? Yeah, why are you getting so upset, Mike? Calm, mate. Calm. Someone's getting the hump, says John. Thing is, though, Mike, once you showed him the chat a bit of weakness, they're going to jump all over it. Ben Moore, some fan did coach the game before saying we get pumped. I'm a level 1 coach. That's a good formation with the side we have. Ben is liking it. Ben's liking it. Ben's got his level 1 coaching badge.
See.
I've got my red certificate in swimming though as well. So I'm gonna tell Michael Phelps how to fucking swim the 200 meters. The universe doesn't care. I'm joking. It's all with banter.
Who said you're an idiot? I never said you're an idiot.
Oh, they talk about me. That's always about me. If there's any sort of negative like that, it's always about me.
Really?
No, we've got what's happening now, guys. Is we've got the goat back. This man here sent 6 pages to Mark Ashton on Wednesday morning, but he couldn't put 50p in his lecky bill. But here he is. Colin, you're back. Tell us what happened on this coach. The chat is on. It's literally some bated breath.
How are you, mate? All right. Yeah. Well, like I say, before I say anything else, like the people who actually run these coaches and whatever, I've got plenty of time for them. Really, it takes a lot of time out of their year, if you like, and whatever. But some of it leaves a lot to be desired. Now, I've been supporting this club for a long, long time, and I've been on coaches left, right, and centre. Whether it be to Sunderland, to Colchester, to St Etienne, I've been on coaches everywhere. Now, I don't normally go on coaches. Now, like I said earlier on, both me boys, I'm going to be as quick as I can. Both me boys were working and one or two other people. And anyway, so I decided to go on the coach. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Drive to Ipswich because I was going south down the A12, so I drove to Ipswich, picked the coach up. Well, I got there and I said to the lady, let's put it that way, who was running our coach, I said, where's Galloway's? So she said, oh, we don't have Galloway's anymore. It got a bit too expensive. So we've got 2 coaches from Ipswich buses, right? So, like, I suppose they do jollies down to Felixstowe and things like that.
Well,
anyway,
a jolly to Felixstowe is a jolly that you want to be doing, isn't it, really?
Oh, you cut him off again.
I didn't fucking cut him off.
Brutal. That twice in one night, Martin. Oh, that is harsh. Oh, and you reckon I'm brutal? God.
You don't cut the goat off. You do not cut the goat off.
Well,
Trust
we know
me.
that, but you don't know that clearly.
I'm not cutting the man off. I want to hear his story.
Oh, bless him.
For the coach that normally drives the Blue Rinse Brigade around Ipswich, does he have a toilet? Asked Lee Hansen. These are all good questions, and I want to know the answers. Here he is, Colin. Does the coach have a toilet?
It keeps going. I don't know why. Sorry?
Does the coach have a toilet?
It did, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. That's the start. Anyway, so it kept breaking down, right?
Yeah, we went on and, we started off and then pulled over and there was a coach in front of us. And then there was nothing wrong with our coach. And then it pulled over again and about a few miles later. Then we got within about 40 miles or whatever it was, 35 miles of Cheltenham, it pulled over again. And this stop was for about half an hour. And I said, to everybody, I said, are you happy with this? And most people said, no, we're not, Obviously, I said, well, rather than sitting on your hands, somebody's got to say something. So I went down to the front of the coach, had a word with the person who's run it.
Go on, Cole.
And said, people want to get to Cheltenham, So talked to the coach driver as well. And the coach driver was quite prepared to take 8 people off the other coach, put them on our coach, take them to Cheltenham, then come back and pick up all the rest off the other coach, kind of broke down, and then take them back to Cheltenham. But the person who was running the coach decided, no, he's on the phone, we sit here. Are you sure? I said, most people want to get to Cheltenham. So, this, that, and the other carried on, and then the coach was supposed to be broken down, chugged off to Cheltenham. They got that kind of fixed while we was in the ground. Ours was rattling like hell from the minute it left Portman Road. So I don't know how on earth that got to Ipswich and Cheltenham and back, let alone the one that keeps breaking down. But all in all, it completely messed my day up. I'd arranged to meet Callie, I'd arranged to meet Hawks for a couple of points before the game. And it really, really destroyed my day, really. And I know we're laughing and joking about it now, but I actually got home, having got home on the coach and got into my car and drove home back to Bury again. I actually got into bed at 20 to 4 in the morning. So that was a very, very long day, considering that's supposed to be a 3-hour journey to Cheltenham. All in all, like I say, I was absolutely, it was a shambles, a complete and utter shambles. And Martin is absolutely right. I wrote 6 pages. 6. I write a lot of letters to the East Anglian, whatever, and I like, without trying to blow my own trumpet, I'm quite good at it. And Martin remembers a letter I wrote and absolutely annihilated the Norwich fan in the BFB. So I'm pretty damn good with the pen. So anyway, I decided, I read the letter out to you, didn't I?
All 6 pages. You did.
And I'm hoping for a response because, see, the trouble is with Ipswich supporters, they're great. Don't get me wrong.
We're awesome. And I'm not saying the letter was long, Colin, but my son's just left university. When you started the letter, he was only a year old.
No, but the thing is, when supporters are treated like that, don't just sit on your hands, say something. You know, it's like over the last 2 or 3 years, or however many years, in the crowd itself, you know, we've put up with too much. And people sit there. Mike said this before, and he's absolutely right. We sit there, we take it, we get hit on the chin, we just take it, and say nothing. That's not how I work. If people get treated shabbily, it has to be written about, and it has to be written about to the right people. Because if people don't like Mr. Ashton, who I also put in the letter, has been absolutely fantastic at this football club since he's been here, and I did actually write that in the letter to let him know that. But like I say, if people get treated like we got treated the other day, and it deserves to be reported. And do you know what? There was about 90%, I'd say, of the people on that coach wanted me, please go and say something for us, will you?
What
I said, yeah, of course I will. And then I had a young lady, I don't know her name, even if I knew her name, I wouldn't say. I had a young lady, I told Martin, who was about 25, said to me, I was trying to help everybody, to get everybody to Cheltenham. I had a young lady say to me, do you know something? You're not being very patient. I said, sorry? Yeah, I wasn't being very patient. But I was, I risked my back, right, to help other people, and I get accused of not being patient. I'm trying to get people to Cheltenham to watch a game of football. See, a lot of people, they get on these coaches. I mean, I won't be going on that coach anytime soon. I like to get in my car personally, or somebody else's car, like with Rich or whatever, and go and have a couple of pints, meet you people like I do at Portman Road, and have a day. I don't get on the coach to just go to Cheltenham, sit in my seat, watch the game and come home. That's not my away day. My away day is not to get drunk. My away day is to go, have a couple of pints with Hawks. Mike's nodding. Thank you, Mike. My away day is to go to that ground, go to that town, go to the pub or go to the restaurant or go wherever, have a nice little piece of something to eat, something to drink, then go and watch the football, then come home. Some people think it's just, you get on the coach, it doesn't matter if it takes 6 hours to get to Cheltenham, then watch the game,
Was it 6 pages front and back? The letter?
No, just front.
Just front.
Just front, yeah.
Just front.
But I did,
front and back. Come on, everyone knows that. Famous gag. I'll bring the cruncher in. Hard truth.
Fucking hell, this is quality.
We've got a lot of comments.
Son.
Alan Flat points of view.
Fucking, I'm listening to you fucking ramble on for the last half hour, Cole.
How are you, old pal?
I'm all right, mate. I'm fucking wetting myself sitting there, boys.
Oh, I've had more comfortable seats. Yeah, what do you think of Colin's story here? I mean, this is the third time you probably heard it, but
yeah, I heard it first. I said to Colin, "Don't send a letter," but then he's obviously said, "Look, I totally agree with you. If you're running a coach company, it's a service, isn't it, that they're providing." You want to go and watch the game. You want to get there in plenty of time. You want to have something to eat, something to drink. Yeah. You don't want to rock up there about 45 minutes, an hour before. You're looking at your watch when you're sitting on the coach. It ain't good enough. And I'll tell you, look, all joking aside.
Let me stop you a second. I actually hung my flag up at 7:05. I got to my seat at 7:10. So in other words, about 25 minutes before the players came out.
So what the heck are you moaning about then? I thought you'd missed our one good half of football the way you were talking, Colin.
But going back to, look, Colin told me who was in charge of that bus, and I know that person. Now, you have to have someone of authority in charge.
Yeah.
Don't you, Colin? You can't just be having someone because they're a nice person or whatever. It don't wash with me. And this is going to get sorted, because I think, like Mark Ashton said when we went to the forum, Martin, there's loads of things that they need to do. He's got a list as long as his arm, and I'm hoping now that with Colin's 6 pages,
he's got six pages more now.
I hope it's at the top.
Hey, Rich, I've got to say though, in my defence, right? Okay, it was a very good letter, and also in my defence,
I like it when you say I'm quite good at. I like it, Colin, when you say I'm quite good at writing letters. I like that. Beat yourself up, why don't you?
Did you include some coffee sandwiches for halfway through? So you coffee.
But Rich, I've got to say that there was a good 2 paragraphs to Mark Ashton of how good he's been at our football club, and I really meant it as well. And I made sure I let.
Is that the start or at the end? Is that the end? He's read 3 pages and put it in the bin, Colin, because he was bored.
Yeah, he's going to use it.
No, we wouldn't have read it then.
He'll use it. He'll use it Saturday afternoon.
I'm going to rock up at yours and come with you to Lincoln.
Yeah, you can come if you want, mate. I'm going.
Right, let's go for a more happier comment. Right, we've got Fearsome 4 this weekend. Burton Ipswich. No, we haven't. That's the wrong Burton. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. No, we haven't. No, we fucking haven't. I've been there. I know the result of that one that we think is going to be. It's going to be 2-1. No, this week we've got Ipswich versus MK Dons. Norwich Man City. Let's go for that one. That's a more happier comment. What's the score going to be this week on Norwich versus Man City? The prediction league.
Well, can I do that first?
You can. Go on, Colin. Don't make it 6 pages front and back.
I'll tell you what I'd like to say though. That was the absolute. That was absolutely the worst result that Norwich could have had. Total. Man City losing at Tottenham.
Yeah.
The likes of De Bruyne will be playing because they'll be wanting to get them 3 points on the board. I think because City lost at Tottenham. It could be anything. I'm going to go for 6-1. 6-1, the City.
Oh,
no, Man City.
But what makes you think that? Because, they haven't got a God-given right to turn up if they crunch and expect to win. So,
Crunch had us winning the first 3 games. He had 15 points for us.
No, I didn't. No, him up the top there did. Him up the top. Him up the top did.
No. I said we would win every game because I was a homer. I said we'd win every game. I'm a home fan. I'm a town fan. I thought we'd win every single game we played in, including Newport. Tuck 6-1. Is that going to be a fair? Is that going to be a fair score?
Well, didn't last time that Norwich played them, didn't they beat them? It was quite an open day, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think it was. I think you might be right. Yeah.
But no, I think this time around, I'd like to say 4 or 5-0. I think
would be nice, wouldn't it? And because you're an authority in all things non-league, you're at Stanway midweek. Our wild card game this week is Stowmarket Town versus Whittam Town in the FA Cup prelim. How do you think that one's going to go?
I think it'll be a good spectacle. I think. I think non-league is it's so underrated. It's unreal. Like you just get such. It's not it's not the greatest of football, is it? But you go there and you actually get a proper day out. You don't get any coach companies like let you down. You don't get any, writing 6 pages. Anything like that. It's a good day out. But in relation to that game, I think probably Stowmarket potentially. I quite like Stowmarket. I think
they are a good side. Oh God, coaches in 6 pages. I'm never going to live it down. Right. So the link's in the chat. 2-1 Whittam, says Stephen Perry. That's our wild card. Mike Finch says 4-4 with Pookie scoring 4. Would you be happy with that?
Hell yeah! Look at the points I'll get. I've gone 5-1. A 5-1 to Pookie to give me some points. You know what I mean? But to be fair, I Pookie's like on the sub bench. Do you know what I mean? Because I've got like
Mike.
Backtracking now.
You've got a decision before you go to bed tonight, Mike. You've got a decision to make, and that is to take Pookie out of your fantasy team.
No, not Cheltenham.
100%. If it's still in there,
you can't be an Ipswich fan and have Pookie in your side, let alone any Norwich players.
But
Agreed, Tux.
No, got to keep him in there.
Fuck you, there.
He's going to be my surprise package. He's going to give me goals this year.
You'll get a little.
Is there not something inside of you that, like, if Pookie goes and scores 4 goals against City, you're going to have like that element of celebrating a Norwich player? Does that not make you feel a little bit sick?
No, I'm celebrating the goals.
Dirty.
I ain't never celebrating a Norwich player. Celebrating the goals, mate. The points on the board. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's doing you a favour, but he's also doing Norwich a favour, isn't he? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they can lose 5-1, and if he scores, I'm happy. Do you know what I mean?
But what if it's
other player in there?
But what if it's the goal?
I'm low on funds. Who else am I going to stick up front who's going to score me goals?
But what if it's the goal, Mike, that sort of takes the lead? So it's like 10 minutes in, and it's the first goal of the game. Are you going to react then?
Sorry?
What if it's the first goal of the game, and it's not a consolation goal and a 5-0 drumming? You know, it's the first goal inside the first 10, 15 minutes. How are you going to react then?
Norwich at all this season, you got it all wrong, lad. Just because I got Pookie in my fantasy league.
If you're looking for a
you
cheap striker,
you don't have to get so upset about it.
If you're looking for a cheap striker, get
a
Origi from Liverpool's going very cheap. He won't play, but you can put him on the bench, and you can put one of your good ones in starting lineup.
But Pookie won't play either. Apparently Ed Sheeran's brother's going to start up front, Josh Sargent. So I wouldn't worry. Right, we're back tomorrow with the press conference reaction. Myself,
I love it when the fisherman gets battered.
Yeah.
Listen at him.
Good one, Rich.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now. Let's move closer to a new history, find out what we can be together. Take my hand and we will conquer the world. This is our final chance. 'Cause one day we'll be looking back at this. We were in a big mess together. But we found a way to choose right from wrong. We found the strength to go on together.